Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for clicking on the video, stopping on in, swinging on by. Today, we were listening to the Brecker brothers. It felt like I was building up to something. Just building up to some Brecker brothers. We're going to listen to the track, A Creature of Many Faces. This is going to be off of the album of their name, the Brecker brothers. Their first studio album released in 1975. We're listening to this because it was suggested and sponsored by Joe. So Joe, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you for the suggestion. You said that this album, as a whole, is a 5-star album. Well, we're at least going to take a little sample, a little Costco sliver of a sample on this one. Check it out. Obviously, we are familiar with the Brecker brothers. Who haven't they played with? Steely Dan, Dire Straits, Todd Rundgren. If I'm pulling up them really quickly just to see some more, it's a long list of people that they've played with. Of course, individually and such. Oh, it's a long list. Pretty much everybody in the world. So let's go ahead and dive on into the track. We'll discuss it, of course, a little bit after. Here we go. That's an intro. That's a mysterious little line, if I ever heard one. This has so many breaks and hits. I can follow that. Love when it just switches this. It's not simple. does have many faces. Nice little line right there where he built that up. Like skipping stones on a river, man. They both join in there. Messing around. I wonder if you guys can sometimes hear me tapping my leg, because you could. Can you hear that? You probably heard that as the song was fading out. Listen, I'm doing that a lot. I'm sitting here just tapping my leg and such. The track is called "A Creature of Many Faces," and just like that creature, whatever it might represent, this track goes through some faces. It shows its visage. It shows its demeanor. Like, just goes through every certain phase. You ever seen those videos of I'm not quite sure which culture, so I'll just say the I think it's Chinese maybe, but the actors or the costumes, and they have the mask, and then they like turn their head and they switch the face really quickly. I'm kind of getting something here, like initially, but then when I'm like thinking about it and kind of mulling over the track, it's very consistent, and the changes are warranted for as different as they may be. This is a track. This is a piece of jazz that it gives you that catchy line, which of course they just repeats at the end in this brilliant repetition. they just repeat at the end in this really cool repeated line. And the way that they solo on top of that, ending with a guitar solo from Man, which I really enjoy. And I think that that's such a cool way to end. Basically just repeating that chorus, you know, kind of like a pop song, you know, repeat the chorus twice. Here they do it a few more times. So that I really, really enjoyed that. And it's such a cool, uproarious jam with so many hits and changes. It's exciting. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. I didn't like change any of the notes when I did it. But they come together so well. Obviously, they both have their individual moments and, you know, their individual strengths and what they do. But I like how during that specific section, like, from what it sounds like, I don't know, maybe they're both playing together in the ba, 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 ba. And then the second half, they overdub, I would imagine, themselves on top of it again and give it an even bigger charge, making it really feel like a bigger horn section, which just sounds really, really fantastic, you know, in that particular moment, which is really, really great. And then my favorite part of this is, I mean, the ending is fantastic as well, but my favorite part is around 3 minutes or so when it smooths itself out. Right there. But let's try to catch that transition. I love how that synth is always there. Bring it out. Right there, they show you they can do the hard-hitting, progressive kind of jazz fusion, and then they can bring it down and just lay you down gently, put your head to the pillow, and sing you sweet lullabies. I think that the way they did that was so brilliant. I love that transition, showing another face of the band and another face of the music. So, besides, you know, the Brecker brothers on sax and trumpet and such, David Sanborn is also featured here on saxophone. Don Grolnick on the keyboards. And once again, every time it came to the verse of the piece, I love how the synth came in and just provided this like cool line. And near the end, it kind of did a little something different. Like it was always kind of playing a little bit in that particular space that it was given a little bit more, you know, in the forefront. Bob Mann, like I said, on the guitars, and he's really showing off at the very end. Almost getting towards a Mahavishnu kind of energy there near the end. Harvey Mason on drums, just absolutely brilliant. The drums were so fun, snappy, snazzy, still dressed up to the nines, elegant, but just playing his heart out in every single respect there. And a song like this that has so many hits and, you know, all these different fills and progressive measures, the time signature changes, that kind of gives a nice format for really all the musicians. But here we'll talk about Harvey on the drums to really kind of show up and do something. And he shows up, like I said, very ready to do something. Bass here by Will Lee. And I enjoyed the bass playing. I heard it in there, but I was really more taken aback by, I would say, like, generally the whole structure of this piece was just really cool to listen to. And I really like when, especially in jazz music, but I would say in jazz fusion as well, I really like when a band gives us a chorus in the music, something to come back to, something to click that particular neuron of, oh yeah, they're going to do that again. And like always brings us back to that. And then in their verses or in the solos and the breaks and the bridges and this and that, then they can go off and do something a little bit crazier. But they always bring it back to home court and to home base. And I really like that because it gives you a nice balance between something catchy and something a little bit out there, you know? And I mean, thinking about it, like if I think back, I mean, many bands and artists do that, but specifically in jazz and, you know, progressive rock and things like that, those are many times the pieces of music or the songs that I enjoy the most when that happens. And here, I love how they use that to build up to that final climax, repeating that specific motif throughout and allowing them to solo on top of that. Really, really brilliant track. This was really enjoyable. Had a great time with it. Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments down below. Joe, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you for the suggestion, as always. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Please come on back by tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.